Yo, now y'all already know what time it is. This weekend, the NFL playoffs kick off. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm like super excited. So I said I'm gonna come up with a quick video, talk about my picks, talk about why I'm making these picks. But if you like what we doing, please don't hesitate to hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, help us get into the algorithm. Leave a comment because I respond to every comment. I'm one of those kind of people that's not afraid to come down and talk to the commenters. Um, and tell your friends, tell your people, tell everybody, let everybody know. Now, this weekend is the NFL playoffs, and I'm a big football fan, Baltimore Raven fan in the building. So since my team is kicking their feet up, relaxing, getting ready to play next week, I said, yo, I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna drop my picks, talk a little bit about why I'm making these picks. All right, so the first game up on the board, the Browns and the Texans. Now, intrigue is the possibility here. I do think the Cleveland Browns are a problem. I really think they're a problem. They are led by Joe Flacco, a former Baltimore Raven quarterback, who honestly, I know that we can stop Flacco. It's just that Cleveland defense is nasty. And, that's a story in itself. Joe Flacco returns to Baltimore, where he lost his job to Lamar Jackson and has been a journeyman ever since, has now settled with division rival Cleveland Browns to return and try to knock off the number one seed Ravens. It's headlines, it's storylines, it's a bunch of things in itself. So, on the other side, Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, who I think will be the rookie of the year. I'm gonna go on record and say I think CJ Stroud wins rookie of the year. Phenomenal year he's having, phenomenal head coach in D'Amico Ryans, his first year making the playoffs. Houston has they're kind of soft at the running backs. Damon Pierce, who last year took the league by storm, has kind of regressed this year, and I'm not really sure. I'm thinking it's the offensive line, which is very terrible, but nonetheless, it's gonna be a good matchup. Cleveland has playmakers. They have, they have good playmakers. They have Ford in the back. So it's gonna be one of those games that I think is gonna come down to. I think it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a shootout. It's not going to be any of that. You got to always look out for Myles Garrett, which might present a problem to CJ Stroud behind that offensive line. I'm going to go Cleveland wins this one. I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one. As much as I don't want to admit, I'm going to go with Cleveland. Amari Cooper and Joe Flacco, that combination is a little bit too good. So I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one. Cleveland wins 37-30. Very close game. It's going to come down to whose playmakers are out, whose playmakers are winning, whose playmakers are getting yards, whose running backs are running. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be first half is going to be very offensive. Second half is going to be more defensive minded because both teams are going to make adjustments. I got Cleveland and Houston. Cleveland winning 37-30. Next game tomorrow. The Dolphins and the Chiefs. Now, I was kind of conflicted about this. I know if any one of them is a threat to the Ravens, both of these teams are a threat. Now, don't make a mistake that we just whooped the shit out of the Dolphins 2 weeks ago. Cool. Don't make a mistake that Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have not had the best year. Both of these teams are a threat. You know why? Because it's January. So, Miami's defense is not great. Kansas City's offense is not great. So I'm going to go on a limb and say this game is going to come down to, surprisingly, how big Tyreek Hill performs and how big Travis Kelce performs. Kansas City does not have the top tier receivers, and Tyreek Hill is going to love the opportunity to burn his former team and show them what they missed when they traded him. So I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a hell of a game. I'm going to go on a limb and say Tyreek might get damn near 200 yards. I believe he can do it. He's done it before. I believe he can do it. He might get 200. I'm going to go because Dolphins secondary is soft. They're playing very soft right now. So I'm going to go Kansas City. If Tyreek Hill gets over 150 yards, I'm going Miami. Miami's going to win that game. Miami's going to win. If you let Tyreek Hill have a field day, having no Waddle, hopefully Waddle plays, but it doesn't look like Waddle's going to play. So not having Waddle, Mostert and Achune, if they get off with Tyreek Hill getting 150 yards, if one of them, Achune or Mostert, gets off, I got Miami winning this game. Now, Kansas City, if they can stop Tyreek, if they can stop the Miami's running backs, Kansas City can win this game. So I'm going to go, here's my final prediction. Kansas City is going to win 27-23. If Tyreek Hill doesn't get over 150 yards, Kansas City wins that game. If Tyreek Hill gets over 150 yards, Miami's going to win 33-24. Not exact numbers, but that's just how I see it. So, yeah, it could go either way. It all depends on what Tyreek does. Tyreek has a great game. Miami wins. Tyreek doesn't have a great game. Miami loses. So that's going to be a matchup to watch out for. It's one of them, can't really tell. Now, the next game, which happens on Sunday at 3:30, and this is an easy pick for me. I'm going to go Dallas. Dallas and Green Bay. I'm going to go Dallas this game. The reason I'm going to go Dallas, I'll tell you why I'm going Dallas. Dallas has a chip to prove on their shoulders. They are the team that always has good regular seasons and chokes in the playoffs. I really think this is the year that Dallas, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not going to get to the Super Bowl. But I really think this is the year that they break out and show people, hey, we're not just a September to December team. We are a team that you can count on to do something in January. And I think Dak Prescott knows they cannot afford to lose to the Green Bay Packers, a team with a rookie to the playoffs quarterback in Jordan Love. I'm going to go Dallas on this one. I'm going to go Dallas 30-17. And it's just based off inexperience. Green Bay is a super inexperienced team, and I just don't feel they have enough to keep up with CeeDee Lamb and Howard and Dak. Dak is going to have a hell of a game. I'm going to give Dallas this one 30-17. They're going to move on. The next game, Steelers and Bills. Really conflicted about this, right? On one hand, I don't want to see Josh Allen advance. I don't like Josh Allen. I'll be the first to say that. I think for years they put Josh Allen over Lamar. And I, for the love of goodness, couldn't understand why. Josh Allen was just a normal quarterback until they got Stephon Diggs. Then he became this all-world quarterback, which was just funny to me. So on one hand, I don't want to see Josh Allen advance. On the other hand, now I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm a Baltimore fan. Pittsburgh Steelers, arch nemesis, has been arch nemesis since day one. I don't want to see Pittsburgh advance either. I like Mike Tomlin. I'm always rooting for the coaches of color, always rooting for them to succeed. He's done it. He's been there quite a few years. He's done it. He's been to the promised land. I don't want to see him succeed, but I do feel like they are an easier matchup for us than Buffalo. So I'm going to go Steelers 23, Bills 21. I do believe Pittsburgh's defense is going to hold up a little bit more than Buffalo's. I don't think Josh Allen goes in crazy and has that Josh Allen playoff magic. I think his playoff run ends this week in Pittsburgh. I mean, in Buffalo against Pittsburgh. So they're going to play at home. They're going to be at home, but they're going to stay at home afterwards because I think Pittsburgh advances 23-21. The next game on the docket, Rams and Lions. Now, remember how I told you how all these have conflicting storylines, just great storylines? This one has a great storyline. Jared Goff was traded for Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford, the longtime Detroit Lion quarterback, got traded to the Rams, won a Super Bowl. Okay. After barely being in the playoffs in Detroit, like he made the playoffs, but not like he did in with the Rams. So Jared Goff has led the Detroit Lions to a division title and to the playoffs. This is going to be a matchup, probably one of the better matchups we'll see this weekend. But I just don't believe with Laporta going down for Detroit. I'm going to go Rams on this one. Rams are going to win 28-21. And the reason why I give it to the Rams, Kupp, Stafford, Puka, Williams, they're all on another level right now. They stormed their way into the playoffs. I think they started out 6-6, injuries, everything. They stormed their way into the playoffs. I don't think that fairy tale ends this week. I got the Rams winning this game. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. And then the very last matchup, Monday Night Football, Eagles and Buccaneers. Listen, last year we were crowning the Eagles the next big dynasty. Like the Eagles are them. They're the next big dynasty. Jalen Hurts got paid. You got AJ on one side. You got Devontae Smith. This is the moment. This is their time. They didn't win the Super Bowl last year, but you had to feel like, man, if they keep this team together, if they spend some money, they'll be all right. They'll be okay. We got this. They're gonna be all right. So the Eagles have not played like that this year. They have not performed up to standards. There's a lot of frustration boiling over. A.J. Brown has not practiced at all this week. We don't know if he's going to play Monday night. Jalen Hurts has a hurt finger on his throwing hand. The running backs have been inconsistent. I like Swift. He's been very inconsistent. The Eagles defense has been getting torched. I don't know. I don't think they're a dynasty, and it's their history. Every time the Eagles get like a super team, something drifts apart. Y'all remember the dream team with Michael Vick and all those guys. So it's like every time the Eagles get like a dream team, shit happens. So I'll tell you this: if AJ doesn't play, if Jalen Hurts, because they have a pretty decent backup quarterback. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play, and hear me out, if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, I am going to tell you right now, Philadelphia is going to lose. Even if Jalen Hurts plays, he's going to need A.J. Brown. Tampa Bay are no slouches. Baker Mayfield may have resurrected his career. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this, that if there is no A.J. Brown, Philadelphia is going to lose. They're going to lose. Marcus Mariota, I believe he can carry them, but he needs A.J. Brown in order to do that. You're not beating anyone without your number one receiver. Gainwell is cool. Swift is cool. Julio Jones is still on the roster. Devontae Smith. Yeah, they have guys. But if you don't have your guy out there, I don't care who's throwing the ball. Hurts, Mariota, doesn't even matter. You lose. And if A.J. Brown doesn't play, Tampa Bay will win this game 17-13. I'm going to go 17-13 on that game. If they have A.J. Brown out there, then Philly wins easily. Because that Hurts to Brown, that Hurts to Smith combo is crazy. So, yeah, that's where I'm going this week. I'll check back in with you guys after Monday, and we'll discuss where these picks and where my picks and how good I did. So once again, quick rundown. I got the Eagles winning if they have AJ. If they don't have AJ, the Eagles lose. I have the Bills winning. No. I had the Steelers beating the Bills. I had the Chiefs beating the Dolphins, depending on how they contain Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill gets more than 150 yards, the Dolphins win. If they don't, the Chiefs win. I have the Browns beating the Texans because the inexperience is just something you can't bank on. I have the Cowboys beating the Packers. Once again, inexperience is something that you can't beat on. And then I have the Rams beating the Lions. So I'll get back with you guys and we'll discuss what these picks and how my picks went. Y'all already know what it is.